This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Welcome to the Bethlehem Baptist Church, a Christ-centered multicultural church where our mission is to love God and serve people. We're delighted you've joined us this evening for a word from the pastor's heart. And this evening, we're blessed to have Police Chief Kenny from the Lower Gwinnett Police Department, a gifted, anointed servant. But before we have this conversation, let us have a moment of prayer. Gracious and glorious God, we thank you for this opportunity to spend this time with a dedicated police officer. We pray, God, as we share this conversation, might be blessed by your spirit, by your power, and by your presence, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Once again, let me thank you so much for you taking the time to sit down and share. I know you've done this several times, but each time you come, you bring forth new insight and new perspectives of how the police department in Lower Gwinnett is dealing with all the challenges that we now face in our nation and in our world.
Yep.
So can you tell me just a moment or two in terms of how you are moving forward with this new initiative in Montgomery County and Lower Gwinnett regarding the police department?
So we listen to our community. We listen to our elected leaders, and we follow the law. We don't try and interpret it. We have. I always say in Lower Gwinnett, common sense rules the day. I like to live that way. That if it makes sense to everybody, you're doing the right thing. We're very fortunate to live and work in Lower Gwinnett. There's beautiful churches here. You've supported our police department for many, many years and supported me personally. The relationship we have, really, I think if you look at, even in police work, we try and build a relationship. We try and build a foundation. And I say that, in as simple terms of, we have officers write tickets, and every now and then somebody will come in and complain that the officer was rude, the officer said this, they're not telling you the truth. And we have in-house, body cam videos. We have software that recognizes and listens. It's AI. We'll have an officer that will have 100 car stops and not one complaint. And then all of a sudden he gets a complaint. Well, you have to take all that into consideration. All right, these 100 were really well done. What happened with that one? What made this person complain about that? So we look at foundation. We look at building relationships. We're never going to make everybody happy, but we look back on the strong relationships that we have that builds trust and trust in a community. And if you need to have trust in your police department, you need to trust your leaders.
I can say this, that the police department under your direction has been such a wonderful blessing, very sensitive, very responsive. And I know these are challenging times, and I know in terms of your own commitment to this community. When we talk about even ICE, have you had any experiences dealing with something?
We have not. We have not had, there has not been one instance with ICE that we're aware of being in Lower Gwinnett. It's been talked about on, on the township level. To date, there's been no interactions at all with ICE. So we're really that, you see it, we're just a little bit too an affluent, we're a very affluent township. We have our problems like everybody else, but we have not seen that.
What are the biggest challenges you see in Lower Gwinnett?
Well, in the police department, it's hiring. It's, I've been here 40 years now.
Wow. I'll be 40 years in April of 26.
Okay. July 15th was my 40th anniversary. When I started in this career, there'd be 1,500, 2,000 people applying for the job. Now we're lucky if we get 50. The test that was just given, there was 18 municipalities in Montgomery County. And Pastor Quann, this is a great job. It's a great paying job. It's a great job with benefits. It's an exciting job. I believe the media over the past 10 years maybe has soured what people think about it. That, oh, why would I want to be a cop? That's a great job and you get to help people. So we struggle. That is one of the biggest challenges I face, is finding good people. We can teach anybody to do this job. If you have the heart, if you have the drive, the will to want to help, this is a career for you. We're gonna step out this year. In the next month or two, we're gonna test on our own. We're gonna try and give a test just for our own department. And I was speaking to you earlier, we're gonna reach out to community leaders, religious leaders. We want them to look at our test and make sure we're being fair and not biased. That's an important part of this. We're gonna come down and we're gonna ask you to announce what we're looking to do. The people are here. We just need to find them.
So you have about 22 police officers?
We have 22 police officers currently, which is a good number for us.
Right. And you have grown over the number of years to increase that number?
Yes. Well, for many, many years, we were at 16. We started, under the direction of our board 2.5 years ago. We started a community response unit. You've seen us. We've been down here.
Right.
We're trying to get more involved with the community. It's a struggle to keep that unit at it's tough to get enough people to stay. With sickness and special services and all kinds of training that are required, we tend to pull from there first. We have a couple guys going to be retiring soon, so we want to try and get ahead of that.
I know in the past you've also talked about how you recruit minorities, and you're still working on that.
Yep, it's a struggle. We would like our police force to mimic our community a little better. I know our board is anxious for that. You're very familiar with our chairwoman, Danielle Duckett. She pushes hard for that. She also understands that we have to get them to take the test also. So I'm pretty happy with what we're going to try and do. We hope to do it by the end of the year. We hope to give our own test, and it won't be a test where somebody goes in person.
Right.
We're gonna have a QR code. You're going to be able. We'll give you 30 days to take the test online, and you have nothing to lose.
What are the educational requirements for this?
High school education is required. That's it. It's pretty simple. A few years ago, there is a 6-month police academy that a few years ago, we required you to have that also. We did away with that requirement. We'll now hire you. We'll put you through the police academy. We'll pay the cost of the tuition, and you'll get a salary while you're going to school. We know we have to get out. It's a different world. We can't expect people to find us. We have to go find them. So we're going to do that. We're going to go to the community affairs. We're going to go to churches. We're going to go to schools. We're going to go to colleges. We're going to go to the police academies. We're going to ask for help and get the word out, and we think we'll be successful doing that.
In the 40 years of your career, what would be your highest moment and then your lowest moment?
Highest was becoming chief of police.
Okay. And you've been chief how long?
Since 2014.
2014.
You would, if I would have been sitting here 40 years ago, it was never even a thought that I would, qualified, want that position. Things just fell in line for me. I've been very fortunate. Right time, right place. I also believe I got here today because of what I did over the past 40 years. And that's being honest with people, being a good person. The most difficult are, there are many, many days where we will go on calls where they're just tragedies. Police are really never responding to happy events. We're normally called when something bad has happened. And no matter where you live, where you work, what your community looks like, bad things are everywhere. And tragedies happen to good people. The tragedies are, never forget them. Never forget them.
How do you release yourself from some of that stress?
I'm really, I don't know, Pastor Quann, I think I have my wife would say I really can turn things off. I leave work and I used to leave work and leave it there. Now being the chief, it's with me all the time. I don't worry because I shouldn't say I don't worry, but we hire good people, we train good people, and we give them the tools and the support they need. That's what helps me, is that knowing the people that are working when I'm not at work, they're prepared. And even under the best case, best of circumstances, bad things still happen. We had the tragedy in northern York County, 3 detectives serving a search warrant. Shouldn't have happened, but there was a bad person at the other end waiting for them. I couldn't watch it. I haven't watched the news. I don't watch the news much more anymore.
Neither do I.
It just brings you down. I did see one thing. We have a couple officers who on our department who used to work in Philadelphia, and they came out to our department. It was I don't know what the word is, ironic that there was Detective Mark Baker, was one of the officers killed last week. His career was in Philadelphia. His partner was Pat McDonald in the Highway Patrol in the early 2000s. Sergeant Pat McDonald was shot and killed in 2008 while with the Philadelphia Police Department. Just those things that give you chills, that how do these things happen? It's just tragedy, just real tragic. Montgomery County sent a huge contingent of officers out to the funeral today. It really, there's a lot of dangers in this job. You just don't expect that.
How does your family handle, your, being subject to some of this ungodly crime and things? Sometimes I don't think we're that much different than, bad things happen to good people every day. Car accidents, workplace accidents. My family's always been comfortable with knowing what I do for a living, and they, sometimes I think we laugh. They say, well, we work in the suburbs. We work in Montgomery County. We're one of the richest counties in the state. Bad things happen everywhere. Just to turn that off and be thankful every day that you're here. So you have a 40-year span of working and helping and sharing and serving. How long do you think you will continue in this journey?
I'm getting towards the end. I probably have 3 to 4 more years to go. I just turned 62. If everything goes well, have a couple grandkids now, set of twins, boy and a girl. They're turning 3 next week. Hope to have more grandkids someday and spend a lot of time with them. So I have a few more years. We're in a transition phase now. We're trying to figure that out as a department. The next leaders, who they're going to be, and get them ready to take over.
So how does that process work? Is it persons apply for the position, or how does that work?
Well, normally in a community or in a suburban police department, you rise through the ranks. Okay. So you'll have your officers, you'll have corporals, sergeants, lieutenants, so forth, and you try and get that ladder to keep going right to the top. So that's where we are. It can be a slow process. It could take years. But that's the way we're leaning.
Do you do much working with areas like Norristown, other parts of the county?
So as myself, no. As a department, yes. So, Montgomery County has, I believe, 50 or 51 municipalities. That's a lot.
Right.
In other parts of the country, we would be a county police department. So what the county has done, even though we have separate departments, they started separate teams of countywide teams. A SWAT team is the biggest example. There are 3 SWAT teams in Montgomery County, and they're comprised of officers in those regions, east, west, central. So we have officers assigned to that. There's traffic teams. There's field force teams. There's teams that the county, fortunately, has taken the lead, and they draw from the departments, which helps in hiring. Some people might want to do that. Well, you'll have that opportunity. It's possible.
I know that in some parts of the state and throughout the country, drones are used.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yep. We have one.
You have one?
We have our own drone. We have our own drone team operators. We've had one for a few years now. So we're not ahead of the technology in that stance. What we've done with it, we have an older community in Lower Gwinnett. Some we've had in the past where some people walk and can't find their way home and they get reported missing. We've used the drone for those occasions. A drone can be in somebody's backyard looking a lot quicker than us circling around. We're going to see more of that. We're going to see the technology and the prices come down. The county has once again, the county has a drone team. When we've had some VIPs, they've been at this church, the county will bring their drones down. It gives us a better view of the perimeter of what we're looking at. So yeah, we're seeing a lot of that.
When you talk about, I guess, some of the things that are taking place throughout our country, unfortunately, we're not as connected to some of those things, but how does that fit in your radar when you see all these things taking place, even though you don't watch the news?
Right. So we received a lot of guidance from the FBI. And again, through the county has their own detective unit, 60, 70 men and women. They have an intelligence unit that if by chance there was some type of threat that even Pennsylvania or Philadelphia or counties surrounding Philadelphia needed to be aware of, we're hooked into that. We're hooked into that pipeline of intelligence. Fortunately, doesn't happen too often, and I'm happy about that.
I think one of the challenges in terms of the police department, do you have any women on the police department?
We do. We have one woman, Officer Gallagher. She's been an incredible asset to us. We had Officer Sanborn, who retired a few years ago, went on to be, she's now a school safety specialist with the county. We're always looking for women also. We need that. There are roles for every race, every sex in our police department that we need to fill. It's not a one-stop shop.
So when you speak about the qualifications in high school graduate, do you have an opportunity to speak to the schools regarding?
We do.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So up until this past year, we had an officer in the school, which was just fantastic as a role model, and trying to encourage students to choose a career in law enforcement. I know Wissahickons doing a lot with teachers. They're trying to groom from the middle school on up, and teachers are going to be required to have a little bit more education. We're thinking of that also. We're thinking of how can we get into the high school and attract kids to a career in law enforcement. It doesn't have to be a local police. There's federal jobs. I'm telling you, Pastor Quann, it's a great job. It's a great paying job, and it's a great career choice that anybody can do. Just have to have a good you have to have you have to want to help. You have to have a caring soul.
Have you experienced the political climate as dividing as it is now?
We don't see it on our local level. We try and be, I personally, most people don't know what my political views are. We don't go that route. We try to, I think it's important to separate it when you're talking about a police officer and the job that we do. Prejudices and biases, they have to be left at home. And I don't say even left at home. You can't have those. We have to just be, we're all human. We're all good people, and we want to help people,
As stressful as it could be at times, what do you do to just try to...
Go to the beach.
do you go to the beach? Okay, yeah.
I tell our officers now, if you're, if you're lucky enough to have a beach house, you're lucky enough. A few years ago, 2015, my wife and I were fortunate enough, we bought a house in Ocean City, New Jersey. Going over that bridge, it's a good feeling.
It's a good feeling.
It's a great feeling. The beach is great. I'm also, I sell Christmas trees.
Right, I know.
Love this time of year.
And how
that's
long
coming.
You've been selling trees for a long time.
Selling Christmas trees in the Spring House for this will be 38 years. You talk about a different line of work, and you've been to my place.
Right.
Everybody that comes to buy a Christmas tree is happy.
Right.
I'm meeting people on a happy time, a happy event. It's a family event. Great time of year for me, personally, and for my family. We love it.
So how many children do you have now?
I have 3 kids, a son and 2 daughters. Son is married, lives local. My daughter is getting married next week.
Oh, wow.
She's out in Denver, Colorado,
Oh.
so we're all flying out next week.
That's wonderful.
And my youngest is living in Center City, Philadelphia. My youngest is now 28, so
Wow.
you've seen them grow,
Absolutely. Yeah.
grow up right in front of you.
Sure. So have you seen changes in Lower Gwinnett in terms of businesses and things of that nature?
Yeah. When I first started here, we were still probably considered a farm. You're still out in the country.
Right.
When I drive around now, I can tell you what traffic light appeared and wasn't there before, what housing development wasn't there before. It's still disappointing sometimes that Bethlehem Pike's not as lively as I wish it could be. We used to meet at Jean's place for breakfast.
Right.
What a great atmosphere that was. Family atmosphere. You were going there for breakfast and lunch.
Right.
Got to know everybody. We don't have that. We're missing that piece. Traffic has definitely changed. But it's still great. It's still a wonderful place to live.
Well, it's really interesting. You mentioned about traffic. It seems like there's a lot of anger behind the wheels these days.
It's unreal. And it's a good time for me to mention this. There was, I believe his name was, and I may be wrong, it's Paul Miller's Law, I believe, that went into effect 1st of August, late July, that, having a cell phone in your hand at any time while you're behind the wheel is now against the law. Right now, we're still in a warning stage, but it's an offense that somebody can be pulled over for. Seatbelts were never a violation. There had to be a primary violation. Cell phone in your hand, you're going to be pulled over for it. The distracted driving is one of the leading causes of accidents. I personally, you could ask my wife and my kids. Somebody cuts you off, ignore it. Just turn the other, turn the other cheek. It's just not worth it.
I know.
And we see it every day. We get road rage calls all the time. And I think, we're very, if you're already in traffic, if you're already taking a shortcut, you're very short-tempered to start with. People will do things they would not normally do. Road rage is not something we want to get involved in. I encourage people all the time, just turn the other way. Forget about it. Let them go. And we all make mistakes. We make mistakes driving. You know, if somebody lays on the horn, give them a nice wave. Sorry, you know.
I think one of the things I've seen in these 40 years, and that is that even in the places of worship, there's sensitivity around, you know, crime and all kinds of things. So people now have to have security and those kinds of
Yes.
things. And,
Yeah.
it's really tragic that
Yes.
even places of worship are not always safe and sacred.
Yes.
And in our schools, I mentioned to our congregation more than once that sending your children off to college was just an incredible experience. Now you got to worry about
Yep.
you know, whether or not they're going to get back home safe or not.
Yep.
You know, so we've seen
Yep.
that happen before.
Yep. You're one of your very good friends, Rabbi Marks.
Right. Yeah.
I drove past Temple Sinai 2 days ago. Was Rosh Hashanah?
Yes.
And there was police cars at every entrance.
Yeah.
I'm sure Bethor was the same
Yeah,
way.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I spoke at Bethor before. Parents are afraid to send their kids to preschool.
I know. Yeah.
That's just horrible.
I don't know where.
I don't know what,
yeah.
and I don't know what the answer
I know.
is. I don't
Neither
have
do
an
I. Yeah,
answer.
yeah.
My answer is we support them as much as possible. We put people there as much as possible. We do everything we can to support them. Shouldn't be that way. Should not be that way.
Well, you know, again, I am so appreciative, and I say that with no reservation, of your leadership in Lower Greenwich Police Department. You know, when several times the alarm has gone off and they're here like an instant.
Awesome.
And, you know, we have not had any serious kinds of incidents, but it's always a possibility. And,
Yep.
and how we, you know, are aware of that and become sensitive to that. We've had police training so that we would know the exits, we know what to do when some
Yep.
shooter comes in. You know, we try to make sure that people are knowledgeable. The police officers from Lower Greenwich have come
Yep.
and shared that with us.
Yep.
I never thought that would happen
No.
in the house of God. but
No.
It's necessary.
It's
you know,
necessary. It's a
Yeah,
necessary
necessary.
event
Yeah.
today that we prepare,
Right. Yeah.
and we prepare everybody that's inside.
Right. Yeah.
And we hope and pray that never happens.
Right. I know. Yeah. Just so much. But I come back to what you said before. I used to watch the news. Grew up. You know, be aware, be knowledgeable of what's taking place. But anymore, it's depressing.
It's very depressing.
And I want to be knowledgeable, but I don't want to be overwhelmed
Correct.
with so many things
Yeah.
that are taking place.
Yeah,
And
and it's not healthy. It's not healthy to
no,
watch it all the
no,
time.
no, it's
The
not.
noise
Yeah.
is not good.
no. Yeah. Yeah.
It does drain
Yeah.
us.
And I felt bad, you know, for, you know, sad just watching the news of the police officers and with families and things of that
Yep.
nature. And
Yeah.
they'll never be the same.
No,
you know,
no,
so-
that was an unbelievable
yeah,
tragedy.
yeah. And we all feel it, you know, and hopefully it would bring us together, but unfortunately sometimes even brings us further apart.
Further
And
apart.
now you have a lot of copycats.
Yes.
You know, you have to worry
Yes, we're
about.
seeing that.
Yeah.
We're seeing that
Yeah,
left and
yeah,
right.
yeah.
It's very sad.
And, yeah. Well, again, you have demonstrated what it means to be a servant, and I say that with no reservation because I know also that as tiring and as stressful it can be, but your commitment to make a difference. And you made a difference. You're making a difference.
Thank
and
you.
40 years is just incredible, and how you are looking at making new initiatives, particularly in terms of harming minorities and making sure that the police department is available to people, and we don't have that fear that we're on the same team.
Yes.
And
Yeah. Well, a lot of that's
unfortunately,
because of our relationship.
right, yeah.
You know, because of you.
Right.
You know,
Well, you know,
you've helped foster that good relationship.
Well, I think it's we have police officers here in our church.
I know. I've met them.
Yeah, you know, and it's a career, it's a livelihood, families.
Yep.
So no different than persons in the fire. You know,
Nope.
even though we talk about in Montgomery County, volunteers are volunteers for firemen, but
Yep.
there's so many people who volunteer. You know, and we're just grateful to God for that. And I
Yep.
pray this nation will become one nation of God, and that we will not have to go through these, obviously, you know, driving a car and those other kind of things, you know. But the violence,
Yeah.
it's as useless. It's ungodly, all the violence that we have now.
It becomes numbing,
Yeah.
and we should never be used to it, but it seems like we are.
I know, yeah. What would you want to say to those who are watching in terms of your perspective, how the community can work together with the police department?
Don't be afraid to get involved.
Right.
Don't be afraid to, see something, say something. I often get, I'll tell you what happens to me, even in my own neighborhood. I'll get a neighbor come up to me and say, you know, yesterday we saw something and we weren't sure of it. We figured we'd tell you. You know, well, it happened a day ago.
Right.
It happens all the time here in Lower Gwinnett. We'll do, you know, say, you know, just for instance, a house would get broken into, and we'll do a neighborhood canvas. And someone will say, yeah, I saw something, but I didn't want to bother you. Simple things like that. You're never bothering us. We're here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Better to be safe than sorry. And I say that even when traveling. You know, the signs are there. Do you see something strange? You can't be afraid to call. You can't be afraid to get involved. Be a good witness. You know, and I know that's easy to say. I know personally the struggles of witnesses in Philadelphia. They're afraid. I don't know that fear. I've never had that fear, but I know it's real. So somehow we have to hope that that changes, where everybody can just try and help each other. And you know, even at school, you know, we see when there would be a fight that would break out, what happens is everybody pulls out their cell phone and wants to video it. No, get involved and have it stopped. Try and separate them. You know, don't look to be the next clip that's going to hit YouTube, you know, 1 million views. Get involved. Stop it.
You also sparked something else, and it may not be on the same level in terms of, you know, police departments and cities and things, but how our officers help with the emotional, I guess, intake.
Yeah, so we have in Montgomery County, again, another shared services. We have called a CISM team. It's a crisis intervention team. We've used it, and what has happened is we have a group of many officers throughout the county who receive specialized mental health training that when there would be, and this could be any type of event that would shock the conscience for somebody to see. Usually involves death. There's no other way to say it. We'll have a team, and we've used them here. We had an officer witness somebody take their life right in front of them. There's a young officer barely here a year. That's not normal to see that. So we were very concerned. We notify the CISM team, they come out. And you know, people will say cops are different. They're not going to talk to a doctor. They're not going to talk to a professional. They'll talk to another cop. They'll talk to another guy or girl who maybe has been through it. And we try and let them know the signs to be aware of, that you're in trouble, that you may need some help. We encourage, don't go to the bottle. Don't start drinking to forget what happened. And years ago, Pastor Quann, that was never done. It was, if you were looked at it as weak if you couldn't handle something like that. We've come a long way. One of the you said changes I've seen, that's one of the big ones. And that's a positive, you know, because I know that there are people like me, maybe been in a much busier place, that they just bury everything. Well, that's going to come out someday. So that's been a huge change for us.
When you talk about language, you said something else a few minutes ago. I was kind of thinking, you know, I grew up in the office referred to a cop, and now we're talking about a police officer. Is cop past language, or what would you rather be referred to, as a cop or a police officer?
To me, it doesn't matter. Really doesn't. I've had, you know, I've had a lot of titles, and I still tell people, just call me Paul. Those things don't they don't change me one way or the other. So, you know, and I'm not sure what the right answer would be. Personally, it doesn't bother me at all. I will say I'm a police officer.
Right.
Somebody, mostly my wife would say, well, you know, you're the chief of police. I said, no, I'm not. I'm a police officer first. You know, so, and that's what I would say. I wouldn't say I'm a cop.
Right.
It changes, it varies. I use them both.
Yeah. Well, that's also because you're humble, and I just really appreciate you, and I mean that sincerely. I know I'm not alone. This community has been blessed by your presence, by your commitment to make a difference in the lives of people, and I've seen it, you know, and even though things have changed, this is a wonderful place to live.
Yes, it is.
And I'm just grateful for the integrity and for the sensitivity that the officers have under your direction, and pray that as a community we will continue to affirm you and be supportive of you. And as you said, when you see something, say something.
Say something.
So that all of us can make a contribution. It's not just the police officers, but residents and, you know, those of us who are concerned about the well-being of people, period, whether it's the faith community or not. And so on behalf of Bethlehem Baptist Church, thank you so much.
Oh, you're
on
quite
behalf
welcome.
of this community, the West Indian faith community, and Rabbi Marks, Rabbi Bonner, who's there now, and all of those who seek to serve in this community. And we need everybody working together for the same cause.
Yep.
Whether it's the school district or whether or not it's the police department or the fire department or the public officials, that all of us have a stake in this community.
Yep.
And nobody can do it by themselves. So we try to partner with one another. And that's what we're trying to do here at Bethlehem, to make sure that we are supporting the police department, particularly when they are doing the things that you're doing, not just overnight, but for a long time. So thank you so much. I pray this evening that you've been blessed as I have to hear the heart of this servant, Paul, who has demonstrated what it means to be a servant. And this community is blessed by him and those who serve, the police officers. There's 22 police officers in our community, men and women across racial lines, gender lines, making a difference in the lives of people. Thank you so much. Share this with somebody else. And remember, every Thursday evening at 7 o'clock, a word from the pastor's heart. God bless you. Have a good evening.
Love God and serve His people. It's what we're called to do. Love God and serve His people. Wonderful opportunities awaiting you. Do you know the way to heaven? Yes, you really need to know. Just count your blessings, brother.